Peace, family. How you doing? This is Mr. R2. It's kind of too early for that, right? Nah, it's not. So, peace. Good morning. It's Mr. R2 here at Consistency is Currency, your morning podcast of choice. So, I would like to say thank you. I appreciate you. This is like my inside voice. I would like to say thank you. I appreciate you for just being here, being a part of this podcast. Now, let me stop playing. All right. So, today is Wednesday. No, Thursday. Wow, today is Thursday already. It's like I just remember saying this is good morning, but this is Monday morning, but it is already Thursday. That means the weekend is just like bam around the corner. But today is Thursday. Peace. Good morning. Who is that? Let me see. Peace. Good morning, Miss Williams. Okay, Miss Williams, you're getting a little bit consistent in the morning. Today, when I say today is so dope. I just learned so much um, about something about noise. Now, when I reveal to you about noise, it's going to shock you. I was shocked. I was like, whoa, this is so powerful. So, before we get into this power session, I'm not going to keep you anything longer than 20 minutes, 15 minutes. I used to go 15 minutes tops, but I think sometime it expand a little bit of 20 minutes. So, for the next 20 minutes of your day, the next 20 minutes of your life, it is going to impact you forever. I trust and believe me. It is going to impact you forever. Today, as you can see right here, right there, as you can see right there, we're talking about silence the outside noise. So before we start, what I need you to do is to go ahead and take this live and share it in an active Facebook group or tag someone that you know that would be interested in hearing about noise, hearing about the outside noise, people that you know that always listen to somebody else instead of listen to themselves. Tag that person because trust and believe, I promise you they're going to get something out of it. So for everybody that's here listening from Facebook, again, I will always start in gratitude. So if you get bothered by how I start in gratitude, I'm sorry. I won't change. I will keep it the same way. Why? Because we get ignored enough all day by people we probably feel we should get some sort of gratitude show towards, but we don't. So I'm gonna give it to you in the morning because you don't have to be here. You can be somewhere else. You can be listening to another podcast. You could be watching TV. You can be doing whatever it is that you felt like you wanted to do, but you're here, right here with me. So I'm going to say thank you. I'm going to reach out my hand. You can't reach it. I can't reach you too. But anyway, I'm going to say thank you. And I appreciate all that you do. Every time you show up, I want to show you gratitude because you don't have to be here. But peace and good morning. So everybody that's listening and from the podcast, man, this is going to be good. Peace, Patricia. Peace, Miss Selena. We're going to be jumping. I don't even want to prolong it because when I drop this knowledge on noise, you're going to be like, wow. I was like, wow, just listening to it, just reading it. So go ahead and share this live. Drop and tag somebody because this right here, right here, this is going to be deep. So without further ado, let's jump. Silence the outside noise. A lot of times we hear the outside. I'm gonna tell you where this came from. So I was speaking with someone this past day, and I was like, "Hey, if this person is ever going to be what this person is designed to be, they're going to have to silence the outside noise. Because if that is their particular calling, if that is what they are designed to do, then they have to ensure that they learn how to silence the outside noise. Because your gifts are given those innate abilities you were born with, that was birthed out of you, but the outside noise is something that is not birth or given. That is something that you have to accept. Well, that is something that you don't have to accept it, but it is something that is accepted by those who allow that noise to be as loud as it is inside of their head. So um so I'm like, oh man, so I'm gonna take this into tomorrow. I'm gonna talk about it tomorrow morning. Silence the outside noise. So what I want you to do right now, I want you to say silence. I promise you, I want you to say silence, because that's you telling you silence. That's you telling that noise silence. That's you telling those distractions silence. That's you allowing yourself to be as great as you know you can be by saying silence. Sometimes you got to put yourself in a room where it's just you and you say silence. I don't want to be distracted anymore. Silence. I don't want to hear that anymore. Silence. I don't want to hear about that anymore. Silence. I don't want to listen to that gossip anymore. Silence. I don't want to listen to failure anymore. Silence. Can you say that? Say silence. And you have to say it like you mean it. Silence. You ever yelled at somebody and said silence? I mean, I have as a drill sergeant, but trust me, when you hear the word silence, that's not something that you will ever forget. That's like someone commanding, that's you commanding that particular thing to happen. Silence, that's power. But you have to pull that power from within to tell that particular thing, silence. I don't want to be broke no more. Silence. I'm going to listen to the things that I know that I'm supposed to listen to. I'm going to put myself in a room that I know I'm supposed to be in. I'm going to be doing the things that I know and that I'm supposed to do. So silence to being broke, silence to being poor, silence to being, in that particular situation. Now let's jump. Let's get it. Let's jump. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that. Silence. So let's talk about this noise. So for those that are new to the platform, you will always learn something. You will learn about a word and you will learn the definition of the word. And then we're going to go back into the etymology of it. So noise itself, it said the definition of noise is a sound, especially one that is loud or unpleasant or that causes disturbance. Now, there's no inversion on this because it's raw. It is what it is. The noise is what it is. Now, I want to teach you something real quick that you have to understand before we go forward. There is a big difference between noise and sound. But oftentimes we confuse those words of noise and sound, that we pay attention to the wrong thing, that we pay attention to the wrong way of you're looking at it in a way that you probably should not look at it or listen to. I'll put that. You're listening to the wrong thing. There is a big difference between noise and sound. Now, as I break this down, you're going to learn the difference you're going to learn more about noise, which is going to allow you to pay attention to what sound is and how important. Sound actually puts you in a position to win, and noise is not always your best friend. Sometimes it is your best friend with the noise. All right, so definition of noise is a sound, especially one that is loud or unpleasant or that causes a disturbance. So now let's go into the technical definition of noise. Now, when I began to break this down, I was like, wow, I was learning because I've never really looked at noise like this. Now, this is the technical definition of noise. This is saying it is random fluctuations that obscure or do not contain meaningful data or other information. That's silencing the outside noise. It doesn't carry the things that is going to allow that moment to be fruitful. It is not carrying information that you should be listening to that is going to take you in a direction that is progressive. It is there only to obscure you. It is there only to blind you. It is there to make you feel what you're doing is not right. but you allow that random fluctuation to take a hold of you, or you allow that random fluctuation to walk you away from your dream. You allow that random fluctuation to tell you that you couldn't do it in the first place because you listened to the outside noise. This is just the definition. Again, I'm just showing you the words, but these are just words. But it's not just words, because sometimes these words are people. The random fluctuations, the randomness that someone bring into your life, but they're obscuring the vision that you know that you have, but you allow them to obscure it. That's something either you accept it or something that you have the ability to deny, but you did not deny it because you felt that it was meaningful. I want to hear what you got to say. I want to hear the info. I don't need to hear what you have to say. I don't. You don't need to hear what they have to say, because you can see and hear noise from a mile away. So now let's go with the other technical version. Noise. The technical version of noise. This was the noun, and this is the verb. The verb technical definition is irregular fluctuations that accompany a transmitted electrical signal but are not part of it and tend to obscure it. Irregular. They're irregular in your life. They're not coming on a regular basis. It fluctuates. They're here today, gone tomorrow. They're back. They're texting you. They're calling you because they're randomly wanting to be a part of your life, just to be a part of what you have going on. They're opportunists. They're doing things that you know that you shouldn't be a part of, but yet you allow that irregularity to be so regular in your life that you don't even know how to address it anymore, but you allow it to accompany the electrical signal. That is your vision. That is you having the gift and opening the doors to that electrical signal. That is that charge, that electrical charge of your mental transitioning into something physical, that electrical charge of thoughts and motion and movement. But it's not supposed to be a part of it. It's not supposed to be a part of what you do. It's not supposed to be a part of what you say. Now, this is just raw definition, but are not part of it. That was not a part of your original vision. So why are they a part of the harvest? Because they were irregular and they were fluctuating, but yet they got their plate out at the table when it's time for you to eat. Those irregular fluctuations of them being around you, those irregular fluctuations that was not supposed to be a part of it, and it is going to obscure the blessings that you have because you are so focused on the outside noise that you don't even know how to block it out. You don't even know how to silence it. Tell it silence. Silence that noise. You have to say it. You have to profess it. You have to open up your mouth and put yourself in a position to receive blessings, but not to allow the obscured vision to be so hindered by the outside noise. Now, this is the part that threw me for a loop. When you look, now you can look this up yourself. When you look up the etymology of noise, that is talking about the origin of noise. The origin of noise, the Latin version of noise is nausea. That is crazy. Nausea, disgust, annoyance, discomfort, literally seasickening. That's why that stuff be making you sick. It's in the definition. This is just words. This is just the definition that was always there, but we didn't pay attention to it. Hell, I didn't pay attention to it until I started to study how do you silence the outside noise? What is noise? I started to look it up, and noise, now let's go back. The verb technical definition of noise is irregular fluctuations. Now, when you're dealing with nausea, doesn't it come from within, those irregular way of feeling, and you're going to get nauseous and disgusted by it and annoyed by it. Maybe you need to feel nauseous about the noise for you to believe that that noise is not really working in your favor. It's not really bringing some sort of level of discomfort because you believed in the noise so much that you literally confuse the noise as sound. The other Latin is noxia, which is hurting, injury, damage. The outside noise can spiritually damage you, can emotionally damage you, can make you feel like you're injured, and it could injure the blessing because you have listened to it so much that you believe that it is something that you should be a part of. You shouldn't be a part of it. I'm just saying this again. You can look this up yourself. Type in etymology and type in the word noise, and you will see it. This is why noise really disgusts you. This is why the outside noise can be a hindrance. This is why the outside noise can be so annoying that it make you sick to your stomach, that it brings some sort of discomfort. Because when you confuse sound and noise, it does give you a discomforting feeling because it literally can possibly distract you from looking at the things that you should be paying attention to. I'm just giving you the word and the origin of it. Take it how you want to take it. Do what you please with it. But I want you to understand now when we begin to deep dive into this, because again, there is a grave difference between sound and noise. So let's go ahead and deep dive into sound. Sound has a speed, and the speed of sound travels between the speed of sound travels at 761.2 miles per hour, which is roughly 343 meters per second. That is the sound. That is the speed of sound. So what is the speed of noise? The speed of noise is whatever you allow it to be. There is no speed of noise, but there is a speed of sound. There is velocity. There is speed. There is something that is measurable. Because again, it is measurable because the speed of sound travels at 761.2 miles per hour, but the speed of noise travel as fast from one person's mouth into your ears. If you begin to believe it, you will possibly lose out and be injured and disgusted because you should not have listened to that noise to begin with. That's crazy, right? So now let's talk about it. How do you begin to silence the outside noise? You got to cut through the fog. You have to learn how to cut through the fog because fog is random, right? Fog isn't every morning. Fog is not every day. It fluctuates. It may be here on Thursday and you will never see fog again to another season or something like that. It's random. So you're going to have to learn how to cut through the fog. You're going to have to learn how to still see yourself. You're going to have to learn that this fog is temporarily because I want to silence the outside noise because I don't want to be sickened by the noise, but I want to look at the sound that sounds so sweet. It's like a football player or a basketball player or whoever plays sports that goes in some sort of arena. When you cut through the fog, if you're in a game, if you ever play sports, you're focusing on the task at hand. You're not worried about what they're talking about in the stands. You don't even hear what they're saying in the stands. You can be inside of a stadium that is full and be in the middle of the field and everybody is cheering and saying what they're saying, it sounds like noise, just one solid noise, but you are not focusing on that particular noise. That is you cutting through the fog, because if I'm ever going to score, if I'm ever going to advance and move the ball forward, or if I'm ever going to focus on what I'm supposed to be focusing on, I have to cut through the fog and see that I am important, because I have to begin to remember my purpose. If I'm going to cut out the noise or silence the noise, I have to be in a place or a space of remembrance. I have to remember my why. I have to remember my purpose. I have to remember why I started to begin with. I have to remember who I do it for. I have to remember what was the original thought or dream about. I have to remember that there was dry bones in the valley that I have to wake up, because my gifts, it was not just given to me, but my gifts was actually the investment of the journey. I have to invest that gift if the gift is ever going to put me in a position to win. And then when I remember what my purpose is, I have to begin to focus on what's important. See, some of y'all will look at this image right here, and one person will see the hand while the other person see the lens. Hey, when you saw this, put in the chat, what was the first thing you saw? Now, don't just say it because you might see other people saying it, but say it because you want to be truthful and transparent. It's how you see things. Focus on what's important, because if you looked at it like, oh man, that's a dope lens, that means that you're focusing just a little bit different than the person who saw the hand. Because focus on, if the hand is important, then stay focused on the hand. If the lens is important, then stay focused on the lens. You don't have to try or strive to be dictated by what other people or how other people measure your focus. Your focus is how you measure it. Because remember, if speed travels, speed has a measurable distance. It goes in a miles per hour, but noise travels from one mouth to one ear, and it is possibly a distraction only if you allow it to be. And then after you finish with that, be okay with being by yourself. Why? Because I want you to focus on the important thing and eliminate all the unnecessary outside noise. Even if you have to put yourself in a room, even if you have to put yourself in a space where it's just you and you're talking to you, you're listening to your inner voice, you're listening to your gifts, you're listening to the things that you know that you have inside of you, and not focusing on what everybody else is saying on the outside of you. Follow your dreams can possibly feel lonely. Your dreams and focusing on it could feel like, it's solitary or scary or dark or dangerous. But you have to realize it's your walk. It's yours. It's not no one else's. Block out the naysayers. Because when you focus on you, you begin to see things clearly. And as you see things clearly, it makes your walk that much more easier, because you're walking in purpose. You're walking with purpose. You're walking on purpose. And begin to silence the outside noise. Because sometimes that outside noise is not sound. It is the unpleasant thing that is there to obscure your vision, or to distract you from the vision and the blessings that you have, to distract you from starting that business, from distract you of accomplishing that particular goal, because the noise is so loud. Now, I'm not telling you not to pay attention to the sound. I'm telling you to identify the sound. The noise can be identified, but the sound must be the identification of recognizing. It's like a parent who has a child. I can identify this child, the sound of this child when he or she hurt themselves. A parent can identify the sound, But noise, you like, what is that? I don't know what that is. But oh, I know my baby sound. Come here. I heard that. That's the difference. Sound is what you pay attention to. Noise is something that could distract you from what you're supposed to see and where you're supposed to be going. But that's all I got. Hey, y'all be blessed. And remember, here at Consistency is Currency, your morning podcast of choice. I'll see you tomorrow, 7:30, right here. Hey, tag somebody who you know, that need this message. They're always listening to what everybody else saying. They're always focused on what somebody said about them, and tell them to silence the outside noise. Y'all be blessed. Peace.